Hey everybody, St. Paul Peterson here, and welcome to episode 69 of Music on the Run. This is the series of interviews that I did at the NAMM show this past winter, and this episode is so great. My next guest is a producer, a drummer, a mentor, a father, a spouse, and he's inspiring millions of drummers around the world. Sput Searight is my guest on Music on the Run. Hey, welcome everybody to the NAMM show. Yeah. Let me hear you out there. We are always happy to be back at the NAMM show at the Electro Voice booth. Michael, thank you and your team for inviting us back. I think this is the third year we've been doing this. Yeah. So thank you for that. My producer back there, Davide Razzo, all the way from Italy to come and produce this. We're always happy to be at NAMM. I love NAMM. I decided I started coming here in 1986, 5 or 6, nearly 40 years ago, and I was a young man, and I was dealing with the group, or the software called Finale. You all remember Finale, right? Well, they just rolled that out. I was the spokesmodel for that. And from that time forward, I've been coming, and it's been a blast. And for me, NAMM, which some of my listeners may not know what that means. To remind you, NAMM is the National Association of Music Merchants. It is, I believe, the largest music convention in the United States, and it's so much fun for me because we get to see all the new gear that people put out, the new software, and more importantly for me, we get to see each other. It's one place where all the musicians come. We see each other, we get to hang out. Sometimes we get to play with each other. That's what it's all about for me. Now, I can't wait to introduce you to my next guest. He's a producer. He's a world-class drummer who's worked with everybody from Kirk Franklin to Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, Snarky Puppy, Toto, and co-founded the incredible group Ghost Note. He got 7 Grammy Awards. And he's taken funk and jazz to a whole new generation. Please put your hands together for Sput Searight. Come on, let's hear Sput. Nice. Man, is it good to see you.
Man, finally.
I know. What you have to know is that I have this weekly series that I do called FunkFriday.
Right.
And FunkFriday is a 1-minute piece of music that I've been doing it's going to be 5 years coming up here. And we started during the pandemic, and I would call my heroes and go, hey, do you want to play on this 1-minute jam? And they were all home looking for things to do and ways to be creative and not, because we were all cooped up back in those days. You're one of the cats who said yes.
Yes.
And that's how our relationship started, right?
Yeah, of course.
Man,
who's going to say no to Paul?
Well, welcome. You are a busy dude. You seem to pack your life, especially the week of NAMM, with many, many different things. Tell me what you got going on over the next few days.
Well, now it's the NAMM side of the actual NAMM side of things. What I try to do is create moments leading up to the convention to give musicians and artists an opportunity to network and come together and meet different people of different regions and different tiers, and hopefully make connections that can change their careers. And so we do these, we do jam sessions and showcases and stuff like that. And so this week has been a fun-filled leading up to today, fun-filled week of jam sessions and showcases Monday night. And then Wednesday, last night, we did a showcased a few artists, singers, creatives, and a tap dancer, and a few musicians as well.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was dope. Yeah.
And The band is playing here tomorrow, you said.
The band, Ghost Note, is playing tomorrow at the Nord booth at 2:00.
Ooh. And I don't get to go see that because I'm going to be right here.
Yeah, because you're going to be doing this.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be here. Well, that's too bad, man. Well, but it's great that you took time to come here so we can get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And, we were going to jam together earlier this week, but let's postpone that and do that soon.
Yeah, for sure.
We got to do that.
A real live jam together.
I know, not the virtual jam session. That's true. So what are your must-sees when you come to NAMM?
Honestly, for me, it's a little different now because this is probably the one place where you actually get to put, your eye. You get to actually see your friends and your heroes. But I think the most beautiful thing is, okay, so you have the manufacturers and you have the distributors, and you have the manufacturers are saying, I have a new product or I have a situation that we created and we'd like for you to try it and sell it in your stores. Right. And then there's this beautiful thing that happens where now the musicians are here and they're able to sit down just randomly and showcase the product without any introduction. They just do it and then they kind of sell the product. And that's kind of a beautiful thing that I've seen down through the years happen just unassumingly or is not is unspoken kind of relationship that happens between the three entities, artists, manufacturers, and distributors. And it's been a beautiful thing. So I love seeing that, especially with the younger generation,
Right. It used to be where we would come here and do our best to hustle to get as many endorsements as humanly possible. That isn't why I come here anymore. Yeah. I come here to see you. I come here to see all my friends that are, that make the trek here. And I think it's become more of a hang. Yes, of course we do business, but this is more important to me than anything else.
That's what I look forward to, is seeing all my friends and the heroes, people you would normally see, on the regular.
Stevie.
Yeah, just walking around, just hanging out.
Walking around. That's crazy. Hey, well, you and I have a lot of things in common. I want to take it back a little bit. You come from a musical family, and so do I. Mm-hmm. What was it like to grow up in your musical family? Who played? How many of there are you? I mean,
my mom and my dad were both musicians. They both. My dad was an opera singer. He sung opera, and my mom was also an opera singer, but she also played piano, and she was an instructor. So we had instruments in the house growing up. It was an organ and a piano at least until I got there. And when I got there, being in the kitchen with my mom, while she's cooking, she would put a pot down and I would beat on pots and pans while she's waiting for the food to get done. And they discovered that I like drums. So that eventually became a part of the instruments in the house. Right. But so growing up in that, the black church in Dallas, Texas, was going to church maybe 4 times a week, more times than I probably wanted to. But you had to, was forced to go because they were very prevalent in working in the ministry of the church. So, and they were directing the choirs. My mom was the music director, and they were kind of over the music department. So, I grew up there like for 10 years straight, and just learning all I could learn, from watching the people that was in my close vicinity. And then I couldn't listen to secular music, which was like anything outside of Christian music. Right. Wow. And my auntie, who was married to a DJ, I don't know what he did to her, but I think he must have pissed her off or something really good. And to be spiteful, she took all his crates and landed them at my house. Oh. And then I got discovered everything in the world, like from the Beatles to Prince to Michael Jackson's Earth, Wind & Fire, Stevie Wonder. And my parents were so cool. They allowed me to break all the rules of the church, and they ended up leaving the church that we were at, and they allowed me to listen to those records and on a daily basis. And instead of going out after school playing with the kids, I was coming home, couldn't wait to get to the final. So, yeah. So did it start by listening, or were you playing at this point when the records came in your house? I was playing already, but, just raw raw talent, not anything developed yet, but I had a love and a passion for music then, and I was definitely taking advantage of all of those vinyls. And it's just crazy listening to vinyls from my perspective. You know, especially now that technology is different. You know, you're listening to vinyls and you're opening up. Back then, they were very detailed. You know, had pictures and photos and stuff like that. And so I'm listening to the vinyl, and it felt like a video. It felt like I was watching a video because I'm looking at the pictures and I'm kind of visualizing what's happening musically by what I'm looking at, because it's sometimes used to be pictures of a live performance. Yeah. And you're hearing the performance, and it's like watching a movie or something. It was an imagination, but I was able to kind of really find the passion in those moments, and that's what led me to wanting to be a musician for the rest of my life.
What records were speaking to you back in those days? Of all those crates that you had there, what was the one that you kept playing over and over and over again? It was.
You know what? It was James Brown, and it was the "Cold Sweat" was the song. I know it was live in Boston, and I think it was the day that Martin Luther King passed, I believe, and they did a concert.
Right.
And I think that record it just stood out to me. I was like, wait, this is different. I hadn't heard anything like that before. And it was so organized. It was so repetitive and just hitting on the one. And I'd never been exposed to that kind of music before. Right. So, yeah.
What do you think it was that why your parents switched gears and allowed you to listen to this kind of music? Did you think that it was because they recognized it was time? It was time to open you up because they recognized your talent. Yeah. And they went, I think the kid's got it. Yeah, so let's just give him a little something here.
Yeah, I think my mom recognized. My mom specifically, but I think my dad always knew, but, he let my mom take the lead on that stuff. And my mom, I think she just recognized that I was special enough to give more attention to, the creative side,
So you're growing up and you go to Booker T. Washington High School for the Performing Arts. Talk to me a little bit about Joel Smith.
Joel Smith is my hero. He's one of the first guys that I heard and play the drums, and I felt the spirit of music, in drums. Like I felt melodies. I felt like his touch was so sensitive. So it was a big influence on how I played, I started to play the drums. I wanted to, like they used to be like, I want to be like Mike type thing. Right. I would do that with Joel because I was like, what would Joel do on this situation, a groove like this? And Joel was unique because he used to play with the Hawkins, and but he would play the drums on the record, but then he also would go and overdub with himself playing bass on all those records, those classic records. So he was just a musical mind, and I adored him. Yeah.
So you ended up going back into church music, though, with the band that you formed, or you were in with your mom, right?
Yeah, well, it was a high school.
That was in high school?
It was in high school. Dang. When we started. It was a choir with my friends, and
called.
It had different names back then, but it ended up being God's Property. And what would happen is we would try to. It was a very talented group of people going to that school. All of the girls and all of the guys could do multiple things. Like they could either play and write, or sing and play, or play piano, or play guitar. Yeah. Everybody could play everything. Everybody, no matter what. And so bringing all of those talents together and those gifts together, we used to enter like choir competitions and get disqualified because we were too talented and stuff. So we didn't fit in.
That's not right.
So we started, we just started singing at malls, in town and stuff. We couldn't sing at the churches or anything because we were playing music that was not, church music. It was more jazz and funk and stuff like that. And but to get permission from the parents, because it started growing. So to get permission for the parents, they wouldn't allow their kids to just go out with me. So I got my mom involved. And so as a chaperone, and it would win the trust of the parents.
Sure.
And so my mom took over and she started mentoring and kind of training the voices, and because that's what she did. And the rest is history. We started doing our own thing, and Kirk Franklin saw us. And,
How did he get involved with it?
well, he's from Dallas too.
Okay.
The Dallas-Fort Worth area, and he saw us. He used to see us all the time, and we was undeniable. It was kind of crazy. The energy, people could act. It was like theatrical. It was musical. It was all kind of stuff. And then we were crazy. A bunch of crazy group of kids can dance and sing and all of those things. And so he fell in love with us. Had us kind of cameo on a few of his songs, and then he got a deal with Interscope, and he came straight running to us to produce us. And the next thing you know, we started working on the project that as Stomp, and and that the rest is history. And
You won a Grammy on that one.
Yeah, it was my first.
How old were you?
I was 21. It's
okay.
People like to say I was 18 or 19, but I was at least 21.
Man, that's something though. Jeez. Were you singing at this time? Or were you playing? Because you play everything.
I was playing. I don't call myself a singer, but
okay.
I can hold a tune. I sing background parts.
There you go.
But yeah, I was playing. I've been playing since I was in the womb. Pretty much. But I was known as a drummer, but I also was playing keys.
Yeah.
So and which is why I was like rocking the music directing seat,
right.
in most of the situations I was in.
It helps you communicate to have more than one instrument that you can be proficient at, right?
For sure.
Because you can point out, no, that's not the right chord change, or wouldn't it be cool if we did this instead, or whatever. Yeah, it gives you that knowledge base.
Yeah.
We can speak that language, right?
Right.
So tell me about when you started touring. Get us out of. Did you end up leaving that band and then you moved out to LA? Is that right? Is that how that worked?
So we went on tour. That was my first tour. Went on tour for a year with that situation, and unfortunately, the group kind of dismantled because it was just too many. It's a choir, on the road, and it got too expensive, and Kirk moved a different direction, and some of the singers did as well, and so everybody kind of it just kind of dispersed a little bit. And we lost, we didn't no longer have to deal with the record label, so it was kind of hard to kind of maintain the situation. So,
and that's heartbreaking when you get that deal and then you lose that deal.
Yeah, well, we didn't lose it; it just ran its course,
Got it.
And we didn't get a chance to do a second record. But so when that happened, I moved to LA and to hang out. I've been hanging out with Terrace Martin, one of my brothers that and I moved to LA, and I drove to LA. I had a Bronco truck, SUV.
Had the drums in the back of the truck?
I had everything I owned in that truck, and I came out here and I slept in the car for like 2 days.
No.
Yeah, in LA. I was gonna get it, I was going to all the jam sessions. But in 2 days, I went into a Ross, and I saw a lady that was doing wardrobe. She was really cute. I was interested in her, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Here come the lines.
And I was like, "Hey, how you doing? What's your name? You got a lot of clothes. What's going on? You need some help?" And she was like, "I'm collecting clothes I'm doing a video shoot." She's like, "You're a musician? You know some musicians?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a musician." I was like, "You know who I am?" She was like, "No." She was like, "Can you mime? Can you mime?" I was like, "Mime? What do you mean?" She was like, "Can you pretend like you're playing on a song?" I was like, "No, that's not really my thing, And then she was like, "Well, I mean, you get paid." I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Right.
Yeah, I think I could do that. And so I go and I play. They asked me to play drums, and they asked me to call 3 other guys. And so there's Terrace Martin, there's 2 other friends, and we there, and then we're miming, like pretending to play. for 4 songs, and each song was like $2,500 per song.
Ooh.
And so that was my first
Welcome to
4
LA.
months, of rent.
It's
And
an
so,
endorsement for Ross Dress
exactly.
for Less.
Yeah,
That's
that was
unbelievable.
great. It was great, and I hadn't had a gig like that yet since.
Man, that's nice. Tell me how long the span is it for you? Obviously, it wasn't long, 2 days, and then you're doing that with your friends. Did they have any idea who those people were that you gathered, by the
No.
way? Do they
No.
know? They must
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just grateful,
Yeah, of course.
I don't even know. I think the artist was like a Pam and Doty. I think it was like a Pam and... I don't even know who these people were. I was just happy, to be able to have a gig, and especially that kind of gig, just from trying to talk to a young lady in the store.
What's it like for you moving from Dallas to LA? Was that a hard transition for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean... because I'm a homeboy. Like, I love Dallas. I grew up in Dallas, but I mean, it's easy to love LA though.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the 4 seasons of weather. The sun, you get to go to the beach. I mean, like, there's some good things about it, that'll help it grow on you. But it was just overwhelming because I'm a family oriented person, so just always being around family. I have a huge family, so always been around family. It's always been my way of life. And then coming out here, I just had Terrace Martin and his mama and his dad. That was it.
Right.
They kind of raised me for the rest of my young life. So that was all I had, and it was small. It was just a small group of us,
Yeah. We have a big family back in Minneapolis too.
Yeah, you do.
So I never left. I mean, I would come out here and for extended periods of time, but I always went back home. When I got married, my kids were young. I had a great gig doing a television show, and I told my wife, I said, "Hey, I think it's time for us to move to LA." She said, "Well, have a good time with that." So she was not coming.
Yeah, she wasn't having it.
No, she was not having it. So you're in LA, you're with your friends, but how did you navigate the landscape of all the different musicians who were out here for the same exact purpose? You ended up getting some great gigs. And tell me a little bit about that journey and how you're able to do that.
Well, Terrace Martin, like I said, we know each other for a long time. And we just made a vow that we was going to do everything together. And every opportunity he got, he remembered me. Every opportunity I got remembered him, vice versa. Yep. And so Snoop Dogg was doing like this television show with MTV. He had a deal with MTV. It was called Doggy Fizzle Television.
Okay. Of course it was.
And they needed a house band, and we became the house band for that. Right. And he liked us so much that he was like, "I want to take y'all on tour." So we went on tour with him, and I think the first tour was like with Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh,
and
man.
He was wanting to show out. He wanted us to rock out all his tunes and stuff like that, and it was kind of cool. And then that became my career for like maybe 5 years straight at that time.
With Snoop?
Yeah, with Snoop. Yeah,
for 5 years. I didn't know that.
4 to 5 years straight before I started venturing out doing other things. Yeah, but we were working. We were working.
He does work.
Yeah, we were working. And it's funny, it's like all of the people that was in that band were very young and up and coming. And so the bass player was Thundercat. Keon Harold was playing trumpet. Kamasi Washington was on tenor sax. Yeah. And it was just like all these guys that are like superstars in the game now.
Man.
Was like just in the band with us.
In Snoop's band.
In Snoop's band.
Man,
and he had no idea. He had no idea all of the dynamite he had in that band. Yeah. He could have blew up the world with that.
Ooh. Yeah, he was probably too interested in what he had to get done. Yeah. Sometimes you don't pay attention and you have...
He knows now.
I bet he does.
Yeah, he didn't know then.
So you really can navigate a bunch of different genres. You moved into more pop stuff with Justin, right? Did you play with Justin as well?
Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was through Timberland. I was working with his producer.
Okay.
Timberland and Jerome Harmon, which is one of my big brothers.
Okay.
Him and Timberland had a partnership, and Jerome would bring me in with Daniel Jones, rest in peace, my brother. He would bring me and Daniel in to realize all of the stuff that they were doing in the studio to play live. So we would program the shows to play live. And that's how I got connected with Justin, because we started doing tours with him and Timberland. And we did like the Super Bowl pre-game performances and stuff like that in Miami, and a couple of Super Bowls. And yeah, it was dope. And that was how I got the chance to work with Justin.
Do you know Mike Scott? Did you get to meet?
Mike Scott was on those gigs.
Was he on those gigs?
He was on those gigs, yeah.
Mike Scott is a dear friend of mine from the Minneapolis days, who played with Prince forever.
Yeah.
Killer guitar player. I'll
fun.
tell him that I ran into.
Yeah, it was so much fun being with him.
So you ended up moving back to Dallas? Is that right?
Yeah, my father. Unfortunately, my father passed.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So I went back. Like I said, family oriented. We were very close knit, and that was a tough blow.
Oh,
obviously. And so I went back to be with my mom and kind of help out there. And the scene had changed, and it had been a different thing. So I ended up playing with Erykah Badu then, because we went to the same school, She wasn't a singer. She wasn't in the music department at the school, which was weird. She was a dancer. Nobody knew she could sing, or at that time, compared to the singers at the school, she probably wasn't a singer, actually.
Got it.
But some kind of way it came full circle, and yeah, I ended up going on the road with her for like a year or two, or almost maybe 2.5 years or something like that. Yeah.
Man, what a great gig that must have been.
It was fun.
I bet it was.
Yeah, it was fun. It was playing Rip Shot all night. It was easy. It was fun. Yeah, it was. It was different because that was hip hop was becoming infused with soul, and that it became neo soul. So it was kind of a new genre of music that was being introduced, and it was a cool time to be in that space. It was fun.
And this is all happening out of Dallas.
It was happening. Yeah, Dallas is threaded with some of the greatest historical moments.
Tell me about. I want to hear about the Dallas music scene, man. Because Minneapolis, we got one, but I want to hear about the Dallas music scene.
I mean, it's so close. It's not as big as LA. It's not big as as some other cities that like Motown and all. They have their own sound and voice. Philly does too, but Dallas, there's just a thing there. A lot of musicians that were iconic were living in that city from the jazz world, Fathead Newman, Cedar Walton, and then in the pop and rock world, you had Buddy Miles living in Dallas. In the blues world, you had Johnny Taylor. And, these people decided to live there. Lucky Peterson, and in the funk world and the musician funk world, it was Bernard Wright. We would go see them playing at any given time in these jazz clubs, just hanging out and playing, and not really realizing who they were, but just soaking in this camaraderie, this music that was happening. And then me and my friends, we decided to keep, do jam sessions at the house and on a weekly basis, and try to curate this scene. And rest is, next thing we know, it was like decades and decades of, they're still doing it. And, but, just in general, the history of people, the musicians, they're threading hip hop, NWA, a member of the NWA who was also a ghostwriter of that whole stuff. He's from Dallas. He's the Diggy Doctor.
That's not right.
He's Dallas, and so he's threaded. The producer that was doing all of those things, he's from Dallas. His name is Sean Thomas. That was doing the whole Death Row, Aftermath, all of that stuff, all of that music, the funk, all of that. It's threaded through Dallas, and then it comes back full circle too, because in hip hop, Kendrick Lamar did put out one of the biggest records when he put out To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yep.
And obviously I played drums on pretty much every song.
Oh, so good, man.
So I'm Dallas, Texas, so they gave me a chance to rep the city too, And then I was in gospel music, one of the greatest artists, in the world, on the gospel side is Kirk Franklin. So it's like we're threaded. And then, on the jazz side, a group of guys came out of North Texas and they was coming to Dallas to hang out with us. And you guys know him as Snarky Puppy now.
Tell me how you ended up being with him for quite a while, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they were all in school and they were coming to our jam sessions. Like, that's the story. Like, so Erykah Badu's band, me and my homeboys, Braylon Lacey is a bass player, and R.C. Williams, who's a keyboard player. Shout out to you both. We got bored because Erykah started having kids and didn't want to go on tour no more. So we started curating these jam sessions at these clubs, and these kids from Denton, Texas would come down because they were going to school. It's like 30, 45 minutes away,
Super well-known music school. Yeah. Super well-known.
Right. And they were coming down and they were catching our eyes. I was like, man, who's these guys? Where are they from? And they were coming down. They were super talented. And Mike Lee, the bass player, I heard him play one time. I was like, bro, you nice. Mm-hmm. And he invited me to come hear his band play. And I went to go hear the band play one time and saw Bernard Wright playing with them. And I was blown away. And I was like, anything you need, let me know. And at the time, I had a little studio that I was working out of. And he gave me a call and asked me to help him write and produce. And I ended up, he gave me a call to play keyboards. Okay. And on a gig, I was like, keyboard, he liked it. He liked what he, saw, and I was playing keyboard. I was like, I'm a drummer, right? But yeah, he gave me the keyboard gig, and so I was a keyboardist first in that band. Got it. We started working on the record. I co-produced it with him. Then I started co-producing the rest of the stuff, but then he asked me to be a drummer when we toured. So it was dope. I became the drummer of the band after that.
Man, what a killer band, and what a great sound that you brought to that project with all that care and knowledge that you had. And I just think those records are out of sight. So they're really nice, man.
Yeah, it was very, very fun experience, working in that.
And that was back in the early 2000s or like 2006 or 7?
A little later.
Okay.
More towards the 2010.
Okay. Got it.
I met them in 2006 and I joined the band maybe in 2007.
Got it.
And then we started going on the road like 2008.
You toured everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we was also playing to 20 people sometimes. We won our first Grammy. And we had to play a gig the next day.
Right.
I don't know where it was, like in Phoenix or somewhere.
Yeah.
And literally playing to waitresses and waiters. We was like, we were so happy. We just won a Grammy. And it was like, whoa. After every song, it was like 2 people.
Welcome to the music business.
Yeah, it was dope.
It's crazy. Tell me how Ghost Note came about.
Me and the percussion player, Nathaniel Worth, my homie. We used to take over the Snarky Puppy shows.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we used to just take them over and get real funky on our solos, and it got crazy. It got to the point where people thought we were playing songs, in the solo moments. We started taking solos together, and people thought we were playing actual grooves or songs that were that we had recorded or something. And so people would walk up and be like, what was that thing y'all were playing? And it was like, it's going to be on our next record. I was just kind of joking. Yeah. And Nate was like, man, we should do a record, just a beat record. And we did that beat record because it was cool because we could go in the studio and clone ourselves and, do all these overdubs. And it was cool. We was like, it's going to be all drums. We're going to play melodic instruments, tones and all that kind of stuff. But just drums,
right?
Like tune the drums, and it was dope. We did that, and then people started asking us to come out, and we were like, "What are we gonna do?"
Right, the two of you.
Yeah, the two of us. And so we started adding people to go out and then perform the music, and it just turned into like a collection of guys that was, you know, super talented. And I mean, the introduction was do you know Funk? Do you know Prince?
Right.
Do you know James Brown? That's it.
Right.
And, you know, if you know those three, then you can survive in this band, because that's where we were kind of just trying to channel, because it was drums. It was like drums on the front line, and it was dope. And then it just started. It just started. I don't know how we got to where we are now, but it's you know, just in time, just collecting different musicians and just playing together all the time.
I saw your tour schedule coming up, and you're going everywhere.
Yeah.
It's and you start that when? In February or something?
February the 11th.
India, right?
We go to Australia first.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and then India.
I have good friends I'm going to hook you up with in Australia. Really, they'll
Please
take good
do.
care of you.
Yeah?
Yeah, they'll take care of you.
I want to see the kangaroos and the koala bears.
The funky ball head will take care of you.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I got you covered there.
Say less.
So there, and then India?
India, and then Japan.
Man.
Yeah.
You got a record was it last year?
Yeah.
Mustard and Onions?
Yeah. It came out April 20th.
I hear every reference you just said in there. I hear Prince.
Oh, yeah.
I hear JB.
It's heavy.
And
yeah.
that stuff is nasty, man.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Yeah.
Great playing on that.
Yeah, your city is a heavy influence.
Is that right?
Yeah. Some of the stuff we was hearing you do. Yeah.
Wow.
It's the truth.
That's good, man. We got to influence each other, right?
Yeah.
Well, Prince, it's hard not to be influenced by someone like that, or Jamma Lewis, you know, and all the different people who came out of that scene, and it sounds a lot like what you were talking about. There was a scene in Minneapolis that if you were a part of that scene, I can tell you that 30 or 40 years later, we are all still friends, still hanging. It's the 40th anniversary of the Family record this year. I just went in the studio with the other lead singer, Susanna Melvoin, and Oliver Lieber, and we started writing the song on Tuesday night.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
So that's what I did with my time. So,
okay, cool.
But it's neat that we can influence each other, because I love what you're doing, and you say you dig what we did in the Minneapolis scene. It's just to keep that camaraderie going. That's kind of what the NAMM show is about too. To keep that positivity and that musicality together and be able to go out and make a living doing that.
Right. Yeah.
That's what is the bonus for me. I have many buddies who play with Toto, but when I saw you playing with Toto, I'm like, all right. Was that like a departure for you? But you're so musical. All it is music. I mean, some people go, well, that's a questionable decision. And what, you need that funk drummer? No, he's not. He plays his butt off in any genre he wants to play it up. Do you feel like sometimes people, not necessarily you, but could be me, people put you in a box and you're not allowed to get out that box?
Yeah, but I think it comes with the territory. You know, you get labeled. If you do something good in one genre, that's kind of what you start getting called for. So
true,
you get labeled that. But yeah, I don't call myself a drummer. I call myself a musician. So, and that turns into a creative and an artist. You know, so I grew up on that music. It really wasn't a transition for me.
Right.
You know, on Saturday mornings, you know, once we could listen to that stuff, my mom was doing laundry, and that's what was playing. You know, Rosanna and Africa, you know, Pamela, all of those songs we were playing. So it wasn't, you know, for me, it was like a dream gig.
I bet it was.
It was, okay, you have these dream gigs and you say, oh man, that would be a dream come true. And but it don't always happen. Yeah. Right? And so like it was a dream gig. I literally got my dream gig, you know, so it was dope. I got a call from Steve Lukather.
I hope it meant, who's messing with me? Lukather's calling me. I would have been freaked out.
I hung up on him the first time.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Because I thought it was my friends playing a joke on me. And he's
exactly
like, hey,
what
man,
I mean.
you know, I thought it was Dominique, honestly. And Dominique hit me. He called me and he was like, hey, man, Steve is trying to call you. I was like, it's really him? So I called him.
Because he was already in the band. Is that
Dominique
right?
had already been in the band. Yeah. Yeah, so he called me. He said he was gonna reconfigure the band, and he wanted to know if I would be interested in being the drummer. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah.
How does that work though with Ghost Note? Did you just go pause?
Well, he was a fan of the band.
Right.
That's how they found me.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I guess apparently Dominique was playing in the band with them, and on the tour bus rides, he would play our music, and they all fell in love with us. And so when I came in the band, that's all we were talking about was, so when you did this, when you did that, I was like, oh, wow.
Wait, this is Steve Luca they're asking me questions.
They were fans. So it was dope to see that they were enjoying the music that I did. So and he was like, I want some of that funk with Toto, and that's what happened,
You probably brought it. Well, I know you did because I came and saw you in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But business-wise, look, we're in the music business as well. You get your dream gig. I'm going to be good to you on your time here. I'm just looking at my watch. We got a couple minutes left, I think.
Okay.
You get this dream gig, but you're also in the middle of of running a band with Nate that is in the middle of some really important stuff. I mean, you're making records, you're touring, you're doing all that. How did you navigate through touring for 4 years with Toto and keeping that band together? What that look like?
It's tough. It's balancing because you have a management team, and you got to challenge everybody to be proactive. Yeah. And you got to get schedules in, and you got to take advantage of the off days and the moments. Steve was very patient with me, and sometimes he wouldn't take a gig if I couldn't do it.
Really?
Me and Dominique couldn't do it sometimes. So, that didn't happen often.
Yeah.
But, that was nice, that they thought we were important enough to want to include us in everything. So, it's just balancing, the business of it is probably more important than actual playing. Once you have to lock down the business side, because that's how you sustain. If your business is not on point, you won't survive in this game.
So, and that's a great transition into influencing and talking about the business for the younger musicians who are either out here or listening to the podcast. It is important to have your business together. How many different things do you have going at the same time to make one good living? I mean, I see you. I see what you're doing. I pay attention to what you're doing. Everything you do ethically and 1,000%. What would you say to somebody who's up and coming who wants to make music their life? What's the secret sauce?
First of all, check your emails every day. Because email is business. Mm-hmm. The phone is personal. And a lot of people want to do business by texting, but the email is the way of life in the business. And if you don't answer emails, you'll lose a whole career. I've seen it happen. People won't. I left a lot of money on the table, not responding to emails in the beginning of my career. So I think that's the first thing, is like, because when it's a thread and it's a chain that allows you to communicate and network, and things are written down, they're documented, in those communications. And I think that's where it starts. But then you have to start manning your calendar. Like, you have to be proactive. Like, this is happening this month. And if you get a gig, you can't just be complacent with the schedule of that gig, because it's just that gig. It's an artist. If you're a working musician, after they stop touring, you have to be thinking ahead of what's going to happen for the rest of the year. Right. So when you meet the other crews, and when you're doing double bills and you meet the other managers, that's where networking happens. And you can be like, hey, if you guys ever need someone later on in the fall, consider me. Here's my card, blah, blah. And then after the tour, you follow up on the email. The email is important, and say, hey, I'm just reminding you. Yeah. And those things go very far, and then people see you as a professional, and you get next thing you know, you get a call from production manager. Hey, I'm doing this pop gig. They need a drummer. They need a musical director. Are you available? Yeah.
Right.
And it keeps going.
And that's how opportunities come, because you have your business together. You do what you say you're going to do. You show up prepared,
Yeah.
right? You answer the emails.
Yeah. Now it's all recommended. I don't have to audition. Never audition.
Never.
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 Never. One time.
I did one
They
time.
don't count.
I auditioned one time too.
I auditioned one time.
Twice. I got one of the gigs and I didn't get the other one. The one I auditioned for was Morris Day and the Time.
Yeah.
When I was 17 years old, I got that gig.
Oh, wow.
I ain't going to tell you what the other one was.
I could guess.
I'll tell you off mic another time.
Okay.
What do you got coming up in 2025 that you're excited about, man?
Personal music.
Okay.
Like I'm really gonna lean all the way in on my own projects and putting out music. I got so much stuff on the shelf. And, I'm like, what am I holding on to this stuff for? It's like, it's been given. Some of it is complete. I'm just in my head about it. And, it is what it is. So I want to make it an effort to clear the shelf, and started doing that this year.
So it's going to come out under your name then?
Under my name.
Okay.
Under my name. Obviously, I have other groups too.
Of course.
I have a group called Spartacus that's consists of some musicians in Europe that I've ran across, that I mentor actually. The bass player he's like 13 years old.
Oh.
His name is Aaron Hodick, and you might see him around here somewhere.
Okay.
He's a phenomenal bass player. And that group, and then I have another group that I have with Mono Neon called Zaftig, and we got a project that's finished and is going to be released this year. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear that. Mono is incredible. I think he played on that FunkFriday with us all. Mm-hmm. That was right. Because I already played the guitar or the bass part, and I'm like, what am I going to? He said, let me just play guitar on this. So that was really fun.
That was fun.
Because this is called Music on the Run, I want to know what you do because you travel all the time. How do you keep yourself in good shape, number one? Number two, how do you keep your business rolling while you're so busy doing all these other things? Because you've got stuff flying at you from every single angle. How do you keep it together? How do you make yourself, get ready for gigs and things like that? I mean, are you a runner? Do you go to the gym? What's the best way?
I don't know that I keep myself in shape.
You run to the catering too.
Yeah, I run to where the food is. I run to where the desserts are. But you know what? First of all, my manager is here. She's sitting over there, Faith Anderson.
Hi, Faith. Thanks for coming.
She takes care of a lot for me, and it makes it easier for me on the business side. But traveling, you develop a routine. You develop the older you get, you understand how your body works. For me personally, I play drums, so.
You're working out every night.
I'm working out, yeah. I'm doing cardio every time. I'm using every limb for 2 hours a night, and sometimes an hour doing sound check, so I'm working out, and so my body has not failed me, in that regard. And I'm grateful for that,
Well, look, I want to just say once again, it's so fun to finally get to know you a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Now we can move into the next phase, which is playing together. At some point. So we'll postpone what we were going to do till another time.
Yes.
And we'll play some music. But I just want to say thank you for all the great music that you're bringing forth, the positive attitude. Everything that you do is just first class. And as a gift for coming here to the EV booth, we have your parting gift today is we have a beautiful RE20 black mic for you. And we want to just gift you with that.
On, right?
Yeah, that's for you. That's what you're speaking on right there. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man, thank you so much.
Please give it up for Robert Sput Searight.
My pleasure.
Have a good rest of your show, everybody.
Man.
Thanks for listening. Music on the Run was created by yours truly, St. Paul Peterson. Recorded, produced, and mixed by Davide Rosso. And a big shout out to our fans on Patreon who make this podcast possible. We'll be back next month with a brand new episode. Until then, remember, sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it.